What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is Legitical Response. We cover political news, keep you up to date, and keep you informed with everything that the government does, or at least that's what we try to do. We try to cover everything we can, but, we can't cover exactly everything, but, saying everything is kind of what I say, right? So, what's up, y'all? How the hell's your day going, by the way? It's Good Friday. So, what the hell is going on with our government today, right? Now, we talk about the Biden administration a lot because, in my opinion, it's the worst administration in American history. In the entirety of our country, we haven't had an administration that has been worse. Open border policies, terrible fiscal policies. Their fiscal responsibility is essentially non-existent whatsoever. I mean, we've got chaos all around the world. We're supposed to be the world police, right? The establishment is supposed to keep control over everything, but yeah, we're constantly getting signed up for new wars all the time. Oh, except for Donald Trump. Yeah, no new wars under Donald Trump. But as soon as Biden gets into office, what happens? The world freaking falls apart. You could say it's, the pandemic caused... No, the pandemic didn't cause Russia to invade Ukraine. No. NATO encroachment further east caused Russia to invade Ukraine. Now, I'm not saying that Russia, I'm not trying to justify Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Hell no. I still think Putin's an evil dictator, probably. Evil for sure, dictator, probably. But my basic point here is that the Biden administration is bad. They're constantly overreaching with everything. They're even overreaching on spending, for God's sakes. $1.7 trillion deficit spending. That's nuts, y'all. Especially some of the stuff that they're spending the money on. Like, they got all these earmarks, billions of dollars in earmarks. And it's all borrowed money. Yeah. Borrowed freaking money. And then we're out here fighting climate change and all this other BS. Like, why are we fighting climate change at a time when we're having to borrow money to pay for the government? It makes no sense. Let's get into the story. Court strikes down Biden rule requiring states and cities to set climate targets for transportation. Now, this, in my opinion, is a clear overreach of executive authority. You cannot set climate targets for the entirety of the country. Like, what are you really doing? Hey, how about let's try to get to this point and not you're required to get to this point, right? Like, I read a couple of articles that, the Biden administration is trying to force these vehicle companies to make more electric heavy-duty vehicles, right? Well, see, there's a big problem. Technology hasn't caught up to that yet. You can make a small car like a Tesla or whatever, Rivian, whatever. You can make a small car and have it pretty much equivocal to a gasoline-powered car as far as luxury and economy and range and all this other stuff, horsepower. As a matter of fact, some of the electric vehicles, they have much more horsepower because electric motors are freaking badass. I love electric cars. But you can't really force this onto people because of your climate change ideology BS, right? Like, we are so arrogant to think that, 40, 50 years of actually studying the climate hard has actually gained us the knowledge to know that gasoline-powered cars are damaging the planet. Yeah, I don't think, considering geology and the length of the planet, now I'm not an expert on this, so don't take my word for it, but I don't think that we have that much knowledge about geology to be able to say that with the conviction that they say that with, right? Like, we only got 10 years left. We've only been having 10 years left for the past 40-something years. And yet, these same people that are constantly talking about, the ice caps are going to melt and global sea levels are going to rise, what do? They all have beachfront property. So if this is going to happen and the sea levels are going to rise and the planet's going to be destroyed in 10 years, why the hell are you buying property that's going to be destroyed in 10 years? It makes no sense. So most people don't buy into their bullshit, right? Let's get into the story. Because like I said in a video the other day, at least we do have some judges, some federal judges, that still have a brain and still think logically. A federal court struck down a Biden administration rule Wednesday night requiring states and cities to set climate targets for transportation. Judge James Hendricks, a former President Trump appointee, agreed with the Republican-led states that sued over the rule that Biden administration did not have the authority to require them to set the targets. Once again, Biden administration overreach, right? They try to overreach on all this stuff, banning gas stoves and trying to ban gasoline-powered cars and trying to do this and trying to do that and not allowing for oil drilling out in the Gulf, which is bullshit, making us energy dependent on other nations, right? This makes no sense. This energy dependence on other nations crap blows my freaking mind because he's forcing us to buy oil from a country all the way on the other side of the world that has to be shipped here on a ship that emits carbon dioxide and all these toxic gases because those ships run on diesel power. Instead of having local companies drill for it right here and pipeline it in, which is a whole lot more economically viable, I guess you could say, or environmentally viable. I'm sorry, I said economically. Well, it is economically more viable, and it's also more environmentally friendly, if you will, to have this shipped over here. Plus, it allows us to be energy independent, saving the country money, which we desperately need right now because $1.7 trillion deficit spending, right? But no, instead of doing all that, he's going to try to force these car companies into doing something that's going to raise the price of these cars. It's going to raise the price of all kinds of stuff because we don't have the damn power stations for these big trucks and whatnot to be able to plug into. We don't have all that infrastructure set up, so it's going to cost money to put these things in place. It's costing the vehicle companies more money, like I said, and it's just making life harder all the way around the board, and they're like, you must do this, or else. Why is that? No. Hendricks argued that the administration was not authorized under law to include environmental benchmarks in states' assessments of highway performance. He wrote that the law referring to the performance of the interstate national highway systems refers to the infrastructure's effectiveness in facilitating travel, commerce, and national defense, not environmental output of vehicles using the systems. The rule from the Federal Highway Administration required state and local transit authorities to set targets for decreasing planet-warming emissions and report on its progress. It also set up a national framework for measuring and reporting transportation-related emissions. A spokesperson for the Highway Administration, which is part of the Transportation Department, said the agency was reviewing the decision and figuring out next steps. The spokesperson stressed the administration's commitment to combating climate change. Meanwhile, congressional Republicans cheered the court's actions. Notice the spokesperson wanted to stress that their commitment to climate change, to combating climate change. Why? That is just a virtue signal. They don't want their climate religious zealots to get mad at them, do they? No, they sure don't. Why are you trying to pander to these climate zealots? Why are you trying to pander to these people? Why not just make logical decisions, y'all? Like, right? Like, if you're going to subsidize something, why don't you subsidize research into making internal combustion engines not toxic to the planet? I'm sure there's something we can do to make internal combustion engines more efficient and not be so toxic. I'm sure there's something we can do to innovate our way out of climate change. Why do we have to destroy civilization to save the planet? That doesn't make any sense to me. So when something doesn't seem to make sense to me, you got to start thinking of ulterior motives. What are their ulterior motives here, right? Wonder what those could be. Could it be just that when the Democrats say, oh, we got to save democracy, they're just talking about their own power? So, yeah, when they overreach on power by trying to force people into doing something that doesn't make any sense, what else could their motives be? It can't be the climate. We've already figured that out because they're purchasing land on the coast, which is going to be underwater in the next 10 years. So, what else could it be? They just want to have more power over the citizenry. That's all it seems to be. That's all I can see because none of their moves make any sense, right? Am I the only one that's seeing this? Let me know down in the comments how you view all this. What sense does it make to destroy civilization to save the planet? You're going to kill humans to save the planet? Hang on. When we can innovate our way out of climate change, why don't we put more research into electric or into these batteries, right? But hang on. Wait a second. These batteries use toxic chemicals. What are we going to do with the waste products from these batteries? I wonder how those are mined. How do we get those materials that are toxic? Oh yeah, we got to have people in a foreign country that are pretty much slave labor to mine the materials to make these batteries with. Oh, so there's something going on there too. I wonder why they would want us to have batteries that you pretty much have to have a slave labor to mine the materials for the batteries. That doesn't make any sense either. Don't you think it would make more sense to innovate our way out of this? I know I keep harping on that, but it just doesn't make any sense to me that they would want to go with something that seems to be just as toxic to the planet while claiming, oh, we're doing it for climate change. Hang on. Yeah, I don't know if that makes any sense there, buddy. But no, to me, it's all about them just controlling the planet. You know, they're controlling everybody on the planet. They want to force us to do stuff that doesn't make any sense. But let me know what you think about all this down in the comment section, because, like I said, most of it doesn't make sense to me. The climate religion doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, I understand we need to be good stewards of the planet, right? We don't want to destroy the planet like the great Pacific garbage patch. I think that's what they call it. All that plastic that's floating on the damn surface. That's a crying shame. Why did we allow that in the first place? You know, should we make an honest effort to clean this up? Yes. And as a matter of fact, they are. It's not a good enough effort, but at least somebody is doing something about this, you know. But it just doesn't seem to make any sense because, once again, the electricity for all these electric vehicles, you know, what was it? 60% of our electric grid is powered by coal. I mean, just blows your mind, right? Doesn't make any sense. Let me know what you think about all this down in the comment section. That's all I got for this one. I want to thank everybody for watching. I really do appreciate it, you guys. Don't forget to hit that like button on your way out. And if you could, have a good day and be positive. Peace.